Parents, today we are digging into developmental delays. We are going to really dig deep, maybe even deeper than what your pediatrician has gone into with you before. Maybe even deeper than your pediatric OT or PT or speech therapist has really explained before. Because what we know is that whether it is a physical or neurological or emotional delay, they really hit our heart as parents. And there can be so many questions when it comes to these delays too. And two of the biggest ones that I hear all the time, and probably are the two biggest on your mind, is number one, what is causing this with my kiddo? What is causing them to get off track? What is the root cause? And then number two, what do I do? What can I do to help get my kiddo back on track? Now, what makes this process even harder is that sometimes it takes so long to actually get a diagnosis, because oftentimes the signs are so subtle, they're very often missed by regular pediatricians or by other medical doctors, and they're put off as just something that they'll grow out of. And then when it is finally realized and diagnosed, then they give you the referral, right? If you're less than 3, then you get the early intervention diagnosis and referral. And then you start with the PT and the OT and the speech therapist, or maybe the developmental therapist. If it is more severe, more significant, and they're starting to think things like autism down the line, then you might already be in ABA and other therapies like that. And we know you are doing all of the things, going to all of the appointments, all of the therapies, you're incorporating all of the things at home. And what I often hear so often, and this video is perfect for you if this is the case, what I hear so often is that, you know what, we do have a physical, a motor delay, and we're seeing a PT and an OT, and we're getting some change, but we're just not all the way there yet. Or maybe we do have a speech or communication challenge, and we're seeing a speech therapist, and we're making great change, but we've kind of hit a plateau and we're not seeing much now. Or maybe there are neurosensory challenges and emotional and social challenges that you're noticing or that you've been diagnosed with. And maybe you're doing the behavioral therapy and the talk therapy, and maybe you're seeing some changes and you're getting some good results, but you just need to see more change. Or maybe, hopefully even better, you're finding this early, just getting into things where maybe you don't even have a diagnosis yet. Maybe you're just starting to look at your kiddo and notice some things and wonder and get concerned about those milestones. And really asking yourself those two questions that we talked about before, what's going on with my kiddo? What's causing this? And then really, what do I do to help? How can I get my kiddo back on track? So let's really break it down. Let's get into some of the science behind this. Now, developmental delays are not just bad luck. There is a vast majority of kiddos that have developmental delays where it is not a genetic component. Now, I know there are definitely conditions like Down syndrome and trisomy 18 and things of that nature that have true genetic components where there are muscular challenges and neurological challenges, and that absolutely will set them up for those physical and neurological and social emotional delays down the road. And that's not really what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, I absolutely have a special place in my heart for those kiddos, and we do see a number of them and have some fantastic results in getting and maximizing their full potential, and really helping to work through some of those delays. So in this video, I really want to break down what optimal development looks like and what it should be, how it should develop, and how we can get it back on track. And what makes this even more difficult is that so often these delays happen before they actually take hold, before any of the outward signs appear, before that diagnosis really can be identified. Maybe they skipped crawling, maybe they were a late walker, maybe they should be talking by now, or maybe they should be out of their terrible twos by now. And what I really want to draw attention to with this is that there is so much more importance on the sequence of how that neurology develops and how those physical and emotional and social stages develop than necessarily their chronological age, their calendar age. age is important and those milestones are there for a reason, but as we know, every kiddo is different. Every kiddo had a different start in life, a different birth process, which is we're going to talk about here in a little bit, is one of the most under noticed and not paid attention to things that sets the tone for so many of these issues going forward. But every kiddo has different histories. Every kiddo is a different size, and that is a big player too in how this development happens. But the important thing to know is it is not as important how old your kiddo is, but what order they went through those neurological stages to set the foundation for that healthy brain function, that healthy neurological function, that healthy neuromotor function, that healthy neurosocial and emotional function down the road. Now, the other point that I want you to know, other than that the sequence and order matters most, is that you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. And with our kiddos, they are supposed to be fully, completely in that growth and development mode for the first few weeks, for the first months, for the first even really 3, 5, 7 years. They should be in that growth and development mode. Now, the number one thing that gets them off track, off of that growth and development side and onto protection side, which will absolutely lead to those developmental delays, is when a kiddo is stuck in sympathetic mode, fight or flight mode, a neurological storm. And we call that the perfect storm, because so often we will take a case history that goes like this. Mom was really stressed out during pregnancy. Maybe she had difficulty with fertility, or there was a lot going on. She was working full-time, going to school, lots of other kids. And then mom's nervous system is shifted into sympathetic mode. And that umbilical cord, that connects mom to baby. So baby's neurology is hitchhiking off of mom's neurology. So they're already getting set up to be towards that sympathetic fight or flight protection mode. Then we see birth interventions, things like inductions and C-sections and forceps and vacuums, and all of those wreak havoc on the upper part of the neck. That's where the brainstem lives. That's where the vagus nerve lives. That is the area that controls neuromotor tone and coordination. And that motor is what is creating physical development, those muscle developmental milestones that baby needs to hit. Now, that same area, like I said, houses the vagus nerve. And when that area is damaged, when that vagus nerve is damaged, yes, it can cause torticollis, it can cause plagiocephaly, it can cause chronic ear infections, and it can cause colic and reflux and constipation and all of those types of things. But the vagus nerve is also responsible for digestion and letting that process happen at its best. The vagus nerve is also responsible for immune function and really getting that to come online. And the vagus nerve is also responsible for sensory input to the brain from the eyes, the ears, and the mouth. So the vagus nerve is also responsible for that communication, for perceiving the environment and being able to communicate and make words to get that message out. It's also responsible for regulating emotions and behavior. So when that area is injured, at a time when baby is so susceptible to injury, their nervous system shifts to sympathetic mode, shifts to that protection mode. And what did we say? We can't be in growth and protection at the same time. And so that growth and development gets put on the back burner and protection mode gets stuck on going forward. So now sleep is interrupted. Digestion isn't happening as well as it should. The immune system isn't functioning as well as it should. Motor and coordination isn't happening and developing in those proper windows. Speech maybe isn't coming online. And then social regulation, and then emotional regulation, and then behavioral regulation all start seeing challenges as well. Now, there is a fantastic article linked to this video that gets all into, gives you everything you need to know about neurological development, how delays happen, how the vagus nerve and the brainstem is involved and linked to this, how pregnancy or stress during pregnancy and birth intervention, how those are all linked to these developmental delays. And really, you know, we've gotten really nerdy and really sciencey, and hope that I've helped you answer that first question that we talked about, which is, what's going on with my kiddo? Why is this happening? But really, I want to leave you with answering that second question. What do I do? What can I do to help get my kiddo back on track? Because listen, I know you amazing parents are doing everything you can. Some of you are already doing all of the things, the PT, the OT, the speech, the developmental therapies, and all of those things. And then some of you are earlier in the process where you haven't gotten a diagnosis and haven't started all of those things. But this is where pediatric chiropractic, neurologically based pediatric chiropractic, can be that missing link, or can be the next step in your child's process. Because what we know as neurologically based pediatric chiropractors is that in order to go after the root cause and really help it, we have to be able to locate it, visualize it, measure it, and then track it throughout progress. And that is exactly what we do in our office. We use 3 neurological scans, HRV, EMG, and a thermal, that help us locate, visualize, measure, and track where in your kiddo's neurology that sympathetic mode is stuck, where things get jammed up, where that perfect storm symptoms, that fight or flight response, that protection mode is really locked in there. And when we can see it and measure it, we can go after it. And through our gentle, unique neurotonal adjustments, we can allow that vagus nerve to heal. We can allow that central and autonomic nervous system to take back over control and really get back on track and hitting those neurological developmental milestones in a better sequence, in the proper order, so that all of those foundational steps can come back online. So I know we went through a lot today. Please ask me any questions, send me a message, any of your thoughts, questions, concerns. Let me know, because our office is here truly to just provide you all of the information, all of the education, so that you as mom and dad can make the best choice and get your kiddo healthy, functioning, back on track as quickly as possible. Share this with a mom friend, a dad friend that you think needs to hear it. Please share this with your social media groups, anything like that that is supporting you during this time as well. We are here to help in absolutely any way we can. So thank you so much for watching, y'all. We'll see you next time.